Welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name is Grant. I've had this game for about a year now, and I'm finally just getting around to doing something with it. We're going to try to prepare this to play here in the next month or so. The game is called Time of Wars, Eastern Europe, 1590 to 1660. So it is a game that tells the story of the wars between the major powers in the East there. Poland, the Lithuanian, I think it's called the Commonwealth, Russia, and other larger empires at that time. The game plays 5 players, but it does have a couple of learning scenarios, I think they call them or refer them to them as, where it's 2 to 3 players and you just play a couple of the factions. But the game is based on Here I Stand. That is the genesis for the game. So it plays very similarly with negotiation and alliances, card-driven game, point-to-point movement, similar-looking maps. And the game, I forgot to say, the game is published by Stratagemata, which is a Polish company. And it comes in this kind of pizza box style, but I think it looks really nice. My only complaint about it is I wish on the spine they had the name of the game, but I think that's a minor quibble. It's not even actually on the back side, but that's a minor quibble. I don't know that it's a huge deal. We'll turn it over on the back and the back of the box. Here's that point-to-point movement, and frankly, this looks very similar to Here I Stand's map, just a different locale. But there you see the different circles. You have the squares, which are the keys. There are fortresses, which will need to be sieged. The point-to-point movement lines. Very cool-looking game. There's the counters. They have the leader stands, small counters. And here are the cards. They look very similar to Here I Stand. I checked the other day, and this game retails for about $80, give or take. I assume to the United States you're going to pay $15 to $20 in shipping, but that's kind of what you're looking at. The game is designed by Christoph Ditzak, and was actually published in 2022. So let's go ahead, without further ado, let's go ahead and crack it open. Once again, pizza style box. The first thing you see when you open it up are the different decks. There are 5 asymmetric decks. This is, hold on just a second. There's some errata counters here. I'm just trying to remember which cards, but there are 5 nations. Really nice art. I love the symbols of the countries, but there are the 5. Sweden, I think, Russia, Poland is in here as well, the Lithuanian Commonwealth, etc. Let's go ahead and open this one of these decks of cards, and I'll give you a look at. I'm not going to go through all of them. Standard size gaming cards. Actually, they're a little bit smaller, kind of like that. You can see ops value in the upper left. This says special card. Not sure if that's their home card, which, if you remember the home card in Here I Stand or Virgin Queen, it's a specific powered card that can be used every single turn and then you get it back. This one's called Crimean Tatars. Play to keep control on the Crimean Tatars. So this must be like a mercenary group that you're going to control. If you play this card as operational points, the 3, you are not allowed to use Tatar combat units. So it's like you're making an alliance with them, but if you don't use it, then you're not. The second one is Sultan grows in power. So this must be the Ottoman deck, yes. Increase domestic policy by 1 level. That was the other thing in the game. It's got economic, domestic, obviously war and warfare. but it has some of those elements included in the game, so it's not just a war game. If you play this card as ops points, ruler card of the Ottoman Empire is flipped to the weakened side. Very interesting. But you can see I think there are 50 cards in this deck. There's a reshuffle card. There's reaction cards, just like in Here I Stand. These are typically battle cards or cards that you can take and affect someone else's play. Sometimes there are cards that have undetermined amount of ops points. If you have certain conditions met, you might get an extra 1 or 2. Oh, this game looks awesome. I'm going to be honest. And I love Here I Stand. So very much looking forward to that. Let's open this one up because I don't know if these are, these are the leaders. Leader cards. Okay, that's what these are. These are leader cards. You can see they have the game turn in which they come into the game or are available. So these would be available on turn 1. Then you have some that are turn 2. Love the art and the pictures. This is a really cool looking game. Game turn 3. Game turn 5. There's 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. There's a 7. A lot of times these games don't get that far because someone's auto won. But remember that event that said they flip over? So here's one side, and I'm not sure which is the base side. This is weakened, I would assume. Additional cards, 1 preserved card, so that means a held card. No fund limit, no domestic policy. Oh, I'm sorry. Additional cards, 1. Held cards or preserved cards, they cannot. Fund limit, there is no fund limit, and domestic policy cannot be done. But when you flip it over, it doesn't change that much. So I'm not sure. Maybe it just has to do with battle. But there are, it looks like there's some errata in there. So I got a later edition. You can use these 6 commander counters to replace wrong printed counters on counter sheets. I'll have to pay attention to that when I get to that point. But here are the other 4 decks. I'm not necessarily going to go into those in this unboxing, but there you have it. You have a bunch of wood, and these are leader stands, because you actually have the leader counters like I showed you right there. Here, I'll pour these out. So you have some wooden dice, which I think are cool. And then these are leader stands. So you're going to put, let me grab one of those leaders and just show you. I don't want to lose one of those. So I'll take one of these errata leaders and just show you. You just slide it in. Very simple. Actually, I really like those better than the GMT leader stands. But there you have it. You slide it in, and that's your leader. All right, the next thing we see is the board. I'm going to move this over so that I can lay this out. It is a mounted map board. Have to be careful. It very much is a puzzle with a couple different folds and a couple different directions. Don't want to rip it. Yep, and I turned it upside down, so let's go ahead and get that. And you already saw this on the back of the box. But there you have it. So once again, point-to-point movement. You're going to start in this location, spend an out point to move there and move there. I'm assuming, yeah, there are passes, which cost, I think, 2 movement points. That takes into account the terrain, mountains. Ports are shown on the boxes, kind of the different kingdoms. So the other kingdom is Sweden. So you've got Sweden, Russia. I think it's called the Lithuanian Commonwealth, if I'm not mistaken. Ottoman Empire down here. Well, I'm going to keep embarrassing myself until I actually read that in the rules. Here we go. Kingdom of Sweden, so that would be up here, the blue. The Tsardom of Russia, right there. The Ottoman Empire down here. The Holy Roman Empire, which would be out of Germany, the black bird there. No, I'm not seeing the other one listed. Poland is my guess. I'm not sure. I'm going to embarrass myself, so I'll just shut up. The rules are here, but nice looking board. You got a turn record track in the bottom. You have a Siege of Danzig track, so that's a specific function. There are kind of looks like not a new world, but that is a map showing things to the east. You can get some VP there. That looks interesting, probably as you explore. Victory point track here. Combat results table on the board. That's nice. A diplomacy table that is on the board. So you're going to have to pay these amount of op values to make alliances or go to war with these different countries. Events in play, you can mark those there. Yeah, that's pretty nice looking. I like the colors. I know some people won't, but I like a colorful board. We'll put the leaders there. Yeah, I think that looks really nice. There's a bunch of that wood. We can move some of those off to the left there. Let's go back to the rules. This is a legal size, so very common for European printing. 20 pages worth of rules. I did read on Board Game Geek. People were complaining about some of the clarity of the rules, so some people have printed off like a new version of the rule book. I'm going to go ahead and dive into that so that I can make sure I have the most up-to-date correct version. Very dense text, so 20 pages is going to feel like a lot more. Looks like they do have some good examples. Yeah, hopefully the rules are good. Only time will tell once we kind of get it reviewed. There are some scenarios, so this is a scenario book. That's where I mentioned there's the one overall grand campaign, and then there are 2 or 3 other teaching the Long Turkish War, Demetriads during the time of troubles. I'm not going to say that. Uprising and the Swedish Deluge. So there's a couple different scenarios. Here is what appears to be some special rules regarding or referring to the 30 Years' War. And on the back is the religion chart, because you're going to keep track of the religion of every country as you move through. Here are the player boards. It looks like I only have 3 of them. Okay, there's some more. I was looking at this a couple days ago. Let me go ahead and pull those out, because you actually have 5 full player boards. They're a little thin. They're on cardboard, but they are thin. They have some kind of little rule specifics to that nation on the back. You can see here is the HRE. Lots of good information about recruiting, available actions that they can do. Here are army boxes to keep the map uncluttered. You have your economy. That's really cool, I think. The military, religion, domestic policy track, and then additional cards and VP for the fortified cities. So fortified cities are going to be akin to the keys, and then domination in the Reich. Yeah, cool. I love the colors. I really do. I like the colors that they chose. But there's a look at the 5 player boards. Very nice. And then there are some counter sheets. They're all half counter sheets. And there are 6 of them. So basically 3 full counter sheets are included. But once again, very colorful. You know, here's the different symbols. So these are upside down control markers. You have battle markers. Here's some of the different events that are going to be held in this events box. So that looks nice. You've got some stickers. I think these go on this side of the leaders. I'm not sure. I'll have to read up on what that is or how that works out. Here are units. So you have some cavalry, infantry. Once again, beautiful. You have some arquebus soldiers, leaders probably, or that's what that looks like. Here's some Ottoman janissaries. Those are really cool. And then these are just different administrative markers, like one card less, that kind of stuff. More units and control markers. I'll throw that there. Boy, those really fall off the sprue really well. Here are those leader counters. And remember, there's a couple of errata, so I'll have to go through that carefully. There are some ships, not a ton of ships, but there are some ships there. And more administrative markers. Love the look and feel of this game. There's some more leaders. So a ton of leaders, ton of counters. I very much am excited about this game. That's a look at all the components. I'm going to go ahead and close this box up. And you know what? I'm not really that bothered by the pizza box. I actually got my copy through our friends at Noble Knight Games. But yeah, there you have it. So Time of Wars, Eastern Europe, 1590 to 1660 from Stratagemata. The game looks pretty cool. Very much interested in it. I'm going to try to get this ready, and we would love to play this at an upcoming convention. So thank you for watching. I've been Grant for the Player's Aid.